Are you looking to level up your author business?
Are you pounding your head against a wall, wondering what your next step should be? Then join me, Daniel Wilcox.
And me, Sacha Black, as we haul ass each week in a bid to level up.
Level up!
Come along for the ride as we delve deep into the business of writing,
Craft,
entrepreneurship,
and every level of the author journey. This is the Next Level Author Podcast.
Hello, Achievers. This is episode 83 of the Next Level Author Podcast, a podcast where we hold each other to account and track our step-by-step progress as we level up our author business. My name is Sacha Black, and here with me every week is...
Daniel Wilcox.
Hey, Dan.
Hey, buddy. How you been? You've been MIA for ever.
I know. Do I look like I've been away forever? I feel like I've been away. I feel like I've
rejuvenated.
Yeah. It doesn't feel long enough, I'll be honest. It was only 4 days. But yeah, I do feel like I've had a break. It was very nice to get away. It was very nice to not be in my house. Now, the irony is I actually had to work whilst I was out there. And I did work quite hard on a presentation for this weekend. It's not finished. I've got to work on it for the rest of the day and tomorrow to get it done. But yeah, it was lovely to be away. Anyway, check in. How's your week been without me?
I was checking in.
No, I know, but I'm running this episode, so your turn first.
Oh, Jesus, where are we? My week has been...
Oh, no. The postman's about to knock on the door.
Stop. Oh, yeah. Wait a minute, Mr. Postman. We'll fill the silence while we wait for Mr. Postman. Let me guess. It's motherfucking books for Sacha.
It's not.
Is it?
It's
is
not
it?
books.
And here we have Sacha. I need to work on my French and so many other accents. This is staying. This is all going to stay in the recording. Just for people listening.
Girls, though.
Sacha is perving on the male ladies.
You're saying mean things.
And I'm not saying anything mean. And this is all staying, just so you know.
No.
It's happening. It's there. We're moving on. Was it books?
No.
I'm suspicious.
It's a giant parcel, which is containing under desk baskets, so I can put my mini Mac in it, so it's not on the table.
That's exciting. So my week has been good. That is pretty exciting as a gadget geek. But yeah, no. I don't know.
Dan, do you actually want to get on with it and tell me about your week?
I'm trying to. If you'll stop interrupting me, that'd be wonderful. I don't know how to explain my week. My week has been...
Start with Monday.
Start with Monday?
No,
such an ass. Right, what are we? 23 minutes into the episode. Let's say good morning. So my week has been very, very interesting is the word I'm going to use, because I have managed to get myself into a very good place mentally. I have managed to get into a very good place productively. I was very, and I've said this a few times on the podcast, I tend to get into realms of fog where I struggle to kind of see what I'm working on and what's working and all that kind of stuff. And so Monday, when I should have been doing 1,000 other things, I put pause on myself and I just stopped and I slammed loads of stuff on my whiteboard, as people can probably see on YouTube, and basically just reassess a lot of what I'm working on so I could clearly see what the next few months held for me and what I'm working towards and all that kind of stuff. In many ways, I have definitely grown a lot with my business over the last couple of weeks, actually with the business itself and in terms of how I'm viewing the business. I have a lot of very exciting stuff going on in the background, which I've been attending to this week, and that's growing, that's building. I hate teasing stuff on here. No, I don't. But I've got some very cool stuff coming in 2022 that people can watch out for. But on top of all that, on Monday, part of the reason that I also stopped to plan and everything else is because my fingers are now at the point in which it really hurts to type. And it's isolated solely to my fingers. And I'm sure that, I put this on a few forums and those people come back with advice, some of it useful, some of it less so. Not that I don't appreciate anyone sort of sending some stuff over. I'm sure that I'll probably get some more of that after announcing this on the podcast again. But I have had to learn dictation. I have had no choice really, other than to employ techniques in which you use pens to type to take some of the stress off my fingers, and also just to explore what dictation options are available in order to get work done. So I wrote a blog post on Monday entirely with my voice. I think I've done about 4,000 words through dictation this week. But that does also then mean that you have to edit and go back through and clear up anything that hasn't been picked up. I have been experimenting with how to dictate while walking and trying to deal with wind buffers, seeing whether or not dictation will work in cars, seeing whether that's something I just have to do at home, which I don't know, I find dictation more difficult at home because I'm living with my parents at the minute. And I get very conscious of speaking out loud, the stuff that normally you process in your head and then type with your fingers. And there's a big educational jump to be had. I have made strides this week in voice methods, in voice to text methods on my phone and on the computer and everything else. But it still definitely needs a lot of work. And because of how I'm currently set up with my ghostwriting with deadlines and things, it's basically come at a real inopportune moment. So I've had to really look at my business, really look at what I'm working on, cut back on a lot of things that were taking up brain space just so I can focus on ways to get the words down. And coming back to what I started with this week before I was interrupted 50 times, I think that...
Oh, that made me want to give you a cuddle.
That
I missed your dickish behaviour.
But no, circling this back, like, I'm glad that it happened this week at a point in which, like, I feel productive and I have mental clarity, because it's meant that I've just gotten on with it. And I've just, it's, in a way, it's been nice because I've been learning a new skill and all that kind of stuff. In a way, it's not so nice because when I'm learning, I like to be in a position where I choose to learn rather than have to learn. And I'm still, like I say, just getting to grips with the irony of grips with sore fingers, trying to get to grips with how to make it work, but also balancing my business. And it has meant that in terms of goals and things, I've realigned stuff slightly to shift some priorities, without getting too vague. But yeah, that's really been my week. So in many ways, I've leveled up with my business. I feel very, very good about where I'm heading and the planning and things I'm working on. But it does also mean that I am having to cut back in terms of how many words I'm putting that aren't for myself, which is painful. And just for perspective, just for new listeners and for people that I haven't mentioned this to, like, I do write a lot and I get why my fingers will be hurting. And I'm looking at methods to sort of alleviate that. I'm trying to rest and do exercises and stuff. But on an average month, I will write anywhere from 60 to 100,000 words just on client work, not including my own stuff and blogs and everything else. So I think I put it out into one of the groups that we're in. I've written 11 books this year. Since the beginning of 2020, that brings my total book count up to 36 books. And I've normalized that output. And I'm really, one of the things I'm really struggling with mentally right now is trying to peel that back and understand that that's not like a typical pace. It's okay to slow down, because you just get on the treadmill and, like I say, you just normalize the things that you're doing. So yeah, I'm trying to peel that back, find a way in which I can slow down on that production wheel so I can focus on other things, because I have a lot of assets behind me at this point that I can market, that I can leverage, that I can do stuff with. So I'm trying to switch that focus a bit. So that's my week.
Love it.
How about yours, gallivanting off in Holland?
Yeah, well, I actually, as you're talking, I was reminded of something, a quote that you told me once, which that is something along the lines of change only happens out of desperation or inspiration. And you've had to change because of desperation this week. Yeah. And you just sort of threw me back to that quote.
That quote changed my life.
Yeah.
That changed so much in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. So my week has been good. It started out with a new hairdo.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it did. So I now have purple hair, purple and pink hair, which I love. It has been washed once since, so it's not quite as bright as it was. I know.
Jesus.
I know, but literally, like, you can only wash it. I can only wash it like once a week. So yeah, there's that. But anyway, like, that's all I washed my hair anyway. So curly hair does not like being washed. What else? Yes, then I got on a plane. I have to say my anxiety was sky high getting on the plane, and it was actually very, very similar to before. There was almost no difference. They just check like an extra piece of paper and that is it. And that has relieved a lot of my anxiety, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to plan loads of other trips now. Yeah, so and go back to traveling. I mean, the The only thing is, where the countries do require PCR tests, it's really expensive. It's like an extra 240 quid on top of your flights, which is a lot. That's the flight and hotel for one person if you're doing a weekend trip or whatever. So yeah, but I am going to think about going. I've also made some decisions which I can't talk about on here. I know only because the people involved or who will be affected by those decisions need to know first. But
oh no,
it's all over.
This is the foreshadowing. It's the end of Next Level Authors. Oh man, I don't know what to do anymore.
Yeah, so I've made some decisions, and those now I need to take action on. But I'm very excited. Yeah, so there's that.
Nice.
Yeah, I think just being away gives you perspective and reminds you of things.
Oh, massively. I love that feeling of coming back from like a week or like a few days somewhere and just being like, clarity. Yeah, life's a bit different now.
Yeah, life is a bit different now. Yeah, and I think that all of the blocks were there. But it takes a moment of decision. And I always talk about this, how there's two types of, well, there is only one type of decision, but there are decisions, and then there's a decision. Yeah. And when you make the latter, the universe like gets out of its own way, gets out of your way and stuff. So yeah, I made a decision. So yeah, but that always happens when I go away, and I think I was waiting for that to make this particular decision. So
nice, that's exciting.
Potentially. Yeah, and then also mentally I've sort of been blocking and planning next year and where I want my focus to be, because I have cleared out so much from this year. I'm sort of deciding where I want things to go and like what I'm going to be doing and how I'm going to make a fuck bucket of money next year. So there's that as well.
Yeah. 2022 is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it is. I'm very excited. I am full of knowing about next year.
So was I in 2019. The end of 2019. I knew so much of what was going to happen.
But you don't have self-assurance. That's the difference. I'm full of knowing about
I have some self-assurance. It's just not in my strengths.
Yeah, it's not in your strengths. I'm not knowing about what the world and life will bring. I'm just knowing about what I'm going to do. Anyway, okay, level up.
What level up? So this week's level up is brought to us by Rob Hewitt, who says, got the copy edits back from my debut novel from my editor. Ordered and gave feedback on the first draft of the cover, took 5 days off from the full-time day job, and saw my mum for the first time in over a year, stupid COVID. Created a newsletter onboarding sequence and binge listened to at least 10 episodes of the Next Level Authors podcast, Time for Wine. I love that. There's so much there. There's so much there that is just exciting stuff rolling with that book and just that author career. So congrats, Rob, and thank you for being an avid listener of the show.
Yeah, thank you so much. No new patrons this week, but if you would like to become a patron and join us for our Next Level Author Q&As, which are monthly, then you can by visiting patreon.com/Next Level Authors. Notices. Do you have a notice, darling?
I do, in a way. So basically, it's going to be quite a short notice for people that are listening to this on the Tuesday that this goes live, which will be the 2nd of November. It really is your last chance if you do want to jump into the bootcamp for NaNoWriMo. So everything officially will have launched yesterday. If you're a patron, ignore this kind of timeline that I'm spouting. But everything will have launched officially yesterday. But it really is your last chance. If you want to get over to my bootcamp and get involved in Samson Words in November, then it basically closes by the midnight of the 2nd. So that's your last chance to get involved.
Cool. Don't think I have a notice.
You have a masterclass coming up. Oh, that'll be over, won't it?
Yeah, we'll have done it by then. The masterclass will be for sale though. But I don't know if it will be sale by the time this goes live, because I'm going to transcribe everything, upload all of the stuff and things on Thinkific and put it up. I have also decided the next masterclass. My only hesitation in talking about it is that I don't know if I'm going to put it before Christmas or after. There are reasons for doing both. And so I don't want to talk about it until I have decided. So
this podcast just has turned into like, here are all the things that we can't tell people that are coming up in the next few months.
Well, look, I'm telling people I'm going to do another one. So there's that. Like, there is another masterclass coming up. I just I just don't want to commit to something before I can commit to it. So there we go. Okay, thing of the week. Oh shit. Oh, I've got loads. What have you enjoyed?
So much
this
just
week?
happened in
I know.
1 second. Sorry, that really tickled me. Oh man. My thing of the week is that last night, or what would be Thursday, the 28th of October, I ran the welcome for bootcamp. So last year, because bootcamp was very much brand new and I'd never run one before, we basically dived straight into mini welcomes and then writing during November. And this year, what I wanted to do was have an hour beforehand where people can get to know each other. We can sort of like talk. I can give a bit of info about how the bootcamp's going to run for people that were new. And I mean, it's just really exciting. I met a lot of new people yesterday that have jumped over into bootcamp that are going to be tackling nano together. Because of what was really nice was like we had a really full Zoom room. And let me try that again. I don't mean nice, but what was really, I guess it was nice to me in a way, is that we had a full Zoom room, but then that was only half of the people that signed up to Nano because of like time differences and stuff where people couldn't make it. So it's recorded for people who haven't yet seen the message over in my Activated Author Slack, and I've popped that up for people. But yeah, just the fact that it's here, it's happening. We've got a bunch of new people. I mean, in the last month, which this also blows my mind, slight side note. So Activated Authors, I pushed to soft launch at the end of September. It feels like it's been open for 3 months already, and it's only just been about 4 weeks. And what's really nice is that the membership inside has basically tripled in the month, which is like really, really nice for me just to see people jumping in and getting involved. Lots of those involved in Nano as well. So yeah, that's my thing, is just, you know, meeting all these really excited authors about to slam the words, that kind of trepidation and excitement buzzing about attacking the challenge and getting it done, because that first week is really where that hits its high. And so yeah, we're about to dive into the waters, and it's gonna be a lot of fun.
I enjoyed so many things last week. I enjoyed having my hair done. I enjoyed ordering my mini Mac new computer setup. I enjoyed traveling. I enjoyed ordering a free write. I enjoyed
Sacha.
I know. I couldn't help it. It arrives tomorrow.
You were on the fence for so long, and then you convinced yourself out of it. And now, the thing is, I follow that mental journey. I've been there many times myself. Do I get one? Do I? No. Yeah, I'm going to order it. It adds into your basket. Then you go, no, I'm not going to. Then you're like, no, I don't need it.
I can't tell you how many times it went in and out of my basket.
Yeah. And then you have that one day where you just go,
oh, fuck it.
Fuck it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So why did I order it? I ordered it because, oh God, hang on a sec. My WhatsApp is going off. How do I close this? Quit. I ordered it because I'm going to write more words next year. And if it doesn't work, I'm going to give it 30 days, which conveniently is over Nano. And if it doesn't work, I can send it back, can't I? So because you get 30 days. So if it doesn't work, I'll get rid of it.
My money is on you not sending it back.
Well, let's see if it works first, because if it works, I won't send it back. If it doesn't, I will. That's sort of how I reasoned it in my brain. But anyway, it's just been a great week. I'm in a good place still. I've really enjoyed creating the masterclass. It only feels like it's half done because there's so much I want to put into it.
That's unusual for you.
Yeah. That's sarcasm. Yeah. Fuck off. Yeah. So there's no confessional. Although we are talking about our quarterly goals each week now, aren't we? So what are our quarterly goals?
So just as a reminder, mine are to move house, which is going forward. I complete next Friday, which is very, very exciting. And so basically once internet is in the place, which I'm going to be sorting out today, then I'll be able to start moving in and going into my new my new home that I've just bought, which I'm very excited for.
Very, very, very exciting.
Yeah.
And what else is on your list?
I'm going to be attending my coaching apprenticeship. I'm going to be sort of getting involved in that and actioning the tasks. That all kicks off November 1st. And the reason I put attend and not like a definitive end is because that runs until February. So there's a few months of that, but I really want to get involved and make sure that it counts and I get as much from that as I can. We'll be sorting Activated Authors 2022 calendar and actioning the first 2 months of content, which I've already made a start on. And actually, the last one I'm going to be dropping based off of what's been happening this week, which is to run an author survey for my Pillars of Productivity book, because just on top of learning everything and with bootcamp and other projects, like it is just too much for me at the minute. So it's going to be one of the things that I calendar into next year. But yeah, I can't juggle it all right now.
Oh, we need to talk off camera.
Mm-hmm. Do you want me to read yours, or have you got yours?
No, I don't have mine.
Okay, Sacha will read 30 books this quarter.
Right. Okay, keep going.
She'll get a logo for the thing.
Yep.
She'll create a plan for a series of masterclasses, and we'll have edited the accepted anthology stories.
Right. So haven't edited the accepted anthology stories because I've not been here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I thought I'd done 8.
Oh, you're slacking. End of October, you've only read 8 books.
7.
7 books. Oh my God.
I thought I'd read another one.
That's one every 4 days. Disgusting.
Yeah, that is slow for me. Yes, I think I only read 7 last time, so I haven't really read anything this week. But I've been away. I'm halfway through a book, so yeah, still on 7. And now I only have 2 months to read 23 books. So that's getting.
You'll complete it by the end of November.
No, I won't. But yeah, I probably ought to speed up, hadn't I? Logo, I've got the logo, so that's done.
I've seen it. It's wonderful.
So logo, editing the stories, that will get done in November. What were the other things? Read 30 books and masterclasses. So, okay, so I haven't made a plan for a series, but I have decided the next one, which I think is a good step in that. And I've sort of now realized I might struggle making a plan, because that means committing to something, but maybe I can just do a brainstorm and that can count, because then I can pick and choose which one I want to do at the time. So that's what I'll do. Yeah.
Well, I think as well, all the planning that you're doing for this first one, and the fact that you're running this first one, you're going to be learning a lot about what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
So it'll have to be based off of what happens then anyway.
Yeah, exactly. I'm shitting my pants now about hitting another 23 books. How many is that a month? 11 and a half.
Just for listeners, I won't specify a number, but this is considerably less than you were going to commit to begin with.
Yeah, I know, but only because I had hit that number in previous months of the year, previous quarters. Anyway,
we always forget how busy the end of the year is.
Yeah, I know. Okay, question of the week. No, comments. All right, comments, whatever.
Oh my God. So last week's question was, what lessons did you learn about yourself during the pandemic? And we had Eden over on Patreon who said, one of the things I learned during the pandemic is that no matter where I end up, I'll always be drawn back to my hometown. For most of last year, I lived just north of London, a good 6 or 7 hour journey from where I grew up. And while there are many lovely things about that neck of the woods, I really miss the hills, the sea, and the general peace and quiet of my hometown. So at the beginning of this year, I moved back down and haven't looked back. It was the plan to move down eventually, but the pandemic really was the catalyst for it. I think a lot of us found that during the pandemic, that things that we've been holding off on, we just did. Because
I didn't realize they were from down south.
Yes.
I didn't realize that was their hometown. Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
The accent's not there. We've had this discussion.
Yeah,
the accent's
I did.
Not there.
Yeah, I just didn't put them there, like as that is the like where they come from. So yeah, I don't know, for some reason I have a little mind blown. I kind of felt like they were more middle ground somewhere. Anyway,
very tangential, but I have to tell you this, and it was a thing where just a second ago I went, I'll talk to you about this off camera, but I think this is also very, very useful for people in the audience as well. I found out something yesterday. I was speaking to an author friend, a mutual author friend, and she blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind. We went onto Zoom. We were recording a thing for a thing they were doing, and before they started, they went, "Oh, I'm just going to quickly share screen." and then we'll go into the talk. And so she shared screen, and then we went into, and was about to get into talk, and I just went, hold on, why did you do that? Apparently, so at the minute we record NLA in 2 screens, and when you're recording like a group call, obviously you can have a gallery view where lots of people pop around. When your video is solely in gallery view, Zoom lowers the resolution because it knows that there are multiple screens, and the data and all the information, it needs to compress it, and it just makes it more convenient for you. So if you then want to focus on someone, like post, it's really low quality. By sharing screen, you're telling Zoom that at certain points in the call, there's going to be full screenage. And so it records in higher resolution for you, the entire conversation. So she basically bookmarked the beginning with a share screen and the end by making, going back into speaker view. So it went bigger again. And she was basically saying that ever since she's done that, every video she's recorded through Zoom has just come out infinitely better quality.
I'm confused. She's shared screen.
Yeah.
And then stopped sharing screen.
Yep.
And recorded.
Yeah. No, it was recording to start with.
Yeah.
So as you record, you quickly share screen. So I don't know. Well, at the end of this call, we'll test this, because at the end of this call, I should have done this to start with, but I'll make us into speaker view before I stop recording. And then that basically tells Zoom that when it's converting everything, to do it in higher quality, because there are points where it focuses on one speaker and it needs to be higher quality.
Oh.
It's a test, but it could be exciting if you're listening to this podcast and you do Zoom calls and recording and everything. Something to try out, but it blew my mind. Yeah. Anyhow, back to the point at hand. John Cronshaw said, biggest lesson was taking breaks is important. I had 13 total days off in 2020. I've already had more than double that this year. I can conquer wholeheartedly. Ida says, I learned that I hate homeschooling. I think many of us learned this. Meg said, it helped reframe my priorities. Life is too short to work like a dog and die. It's for living, so I'm slowing down, smelling the roses and enjoying it with my tribes. And then the last one from Kate Holdsworth, who says, I've learned where the end of my rope is, and then some. Locked down again in New Zealand and feeling pretty vitriolic. I've learned that discipline is my friend, and if I show up, the words will come. I will always make time for video calls to family, even if we all just spend it crying, because life is short, has no guarantees, and regret makes for a very heavy suitcase to carry those left behind. I just want to say thank you to everyone who shared that kind of lens within the Facebook group and Patreon as well, because we all know the pandemic was hard in many ways. And if anything, it has highlighted sort of that it isn't all about work. Mm. And so, yeah, I appreciate all those really honest responses. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much. All right, now it's the question of the week.
Yes.
Okay, so it's been a long time. Like, this is the Next Level Author podcast, and every so often, we talk about leveling up. So I want to know, how is leveling up going?
So this is timely, considering, like I say, on Monday I spent most of it. Every few months I do like to just splatterboard my board with everything I'm working on and try and figure out what the priorities are and where I'm kind of heading. I can't remember. Do you remember the last time we actually asked this specific question?
No, it was quite some time ago.
Also, when we started this podcast, I was writing purely fiction. And I'm now at the point in which the non-fiction and the author services side is probably about 80% of my business. And I have no issue with that. But it's not a place that I ever would have foreseen me going, especially at that point. And I think even with the last check-in, I might have been, hesitantly looking at doing some author services and stuff. I don't even know where to begin with this one. I know that so much just has changed in general, from sort of confidence in talking about the author journey, confidence in like my own work, confidence in choosing this indie life and this sort of self-employed author life, because there have been many points along the way, some fairly recently, in which I have looked at, or not looked at, have kind of in my mind played with the idea of looking for something a bit more like salaried and easier. And when I say easier, I'm not saying day jobs are easy. I'm just saying that it's the idea of having like a fixed number that you come home to at the end of every week, and knowing that when you're not at work, you have sort of the brain space to come by and decompress, because being self-employed is basically all consuming. But every time I come back to the fact that I couldn't go back to that, because I'd end up coming back to this. which is, when I was in the day job, I was writing, I was working on podcasts, I was doing everything else outside of work. So it wouldn't be any less. It would just be more of what I didn't enjoy. And so I'm more steadfast than ever to make this my career for life. I have massively leveled up in how I view finance and generating money through my business, and the confidence that I place in the value of myself and the things that I offer people. With Activated Authors, I'm very, very happy with how that's going, because essentially, just the very, very short version is that has been just a journey in the last year itself. Like in November, I ran a boot camp. In December, I ran an editing boot camp, and they were meant to be like one-offs. And then there were enough people pretty much begging me to keep the group going that then became the boot camp group, then turned into Wilcox Writers Group. And then things were starting to become very disparate in my businesses, and the messaging was a bit confusing. So I know that we spoke a couple of months ago about uniting behind like an idea, like you obviously got Rebel, now I've got Activated Authors. Like putting people behind an idea just, number one, tells the people who are signing up what it's about and helps to bring like-minded people together. But it also meant that I could bring all my services together, and I've got a direction with them that is beginning to work, and they're all starting to complement each other. I have leveled up in that I'm beginning to understand practically a lot more the fundamental levels of a good way to build a business and to bring an audience into what you're working on. I have multiple levels of different ways to get involved in Activated Authors, because another thing we spoke about, and I think that was like October, maybe September last year, is I don't want to exclude people who can't afford the higher tier services from being able to benefit in some way from other things that I'm doing, because I remember who I was, 5-6 years ago, and I didn't have the money to jump into some of these more sort of prestige courses and things. And so I really want to provide support for people that can't quite hit that. Like there have been a number of quotes along the way that have impacted me massively and really helped me reframe my thinking and leveling up. One such that comes straight to mind, because I was actually driving at the time when I heard this, and it was one of those where I had to pull over, and I stopped and I like moved the podcast back, because I was like, wait, not only do I need to hear this again, I need to memorize this, because it was just ridiculously profound. And it was, you are always most powerfully positioned to help the person you once were. And I think when we start building any kind of business, there's almost, we build up this picture of who we should be and who other people are in that scenario. And we forget that what we're bringing to the table is our own experience. And the thing that always reassures me about what I'm offering and what I'm doing now, and as I'm building new services and things, is that everything that I'm doing, I stop and I go, okay, is this going to help 2015 Dan? Like what would 2015 Dan do in this scenario? Or like even 2017 Dan, is this stuff that is practically going to help people? And I mean, sort of even just at this point of answering the question, most of my answers are coming back to the community and to helping people. I still enjoy writing, not so much this week, but I still I love the process of writing. I love the process of creating my own books, and that's definitely something that I'm going to be continuing doing much more slowly with my own stuff in the future. But I mean, in terms of getting a bit sort of more tactile with leveling up, my business has evolved from being probably about 70%, 80% income from ghostwriting and royalties to about 40% ghostwriting and royalties. So I've taken a massive step up in terms of creating income streams that support me, and will slowly move towards removing myself from the ghostwriting arena. I think in the welcome I did in boot camp yesterday, one thing came across very strongly to me, which was it was very easy for me. And running those kind of groups and things is much more easy for me, because I just have that confidence, because I've been running for like a year now. And I remember running that first boot camp, and like I managed to run it, but there was definitely a lot more nerves and things associated with it. So again, it's that it's that confidence building in my head of, I do have something to offer. And increasingly I'm speaking at events and I'm getting more sort of recognition more widely. And that's really, really reassuring and just helps me know that I'm going in the right direction. Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways I can spin it. A lot in mindset, a lot in terms of the non-fiction, in terms of the fiction. Like When Winter Comes came out this year, and I'm so proud of that book because I genuinely feel like in all my 6 years of writing, and I mean, hopefully this is what should happen with the latest book, but I feel like that really is a culmination of so many lessons in this book that I'm incredibly proud to have on my shelf and to be putting out, because Sin to Smoke still sells, but I don't like it when it sells because that was my first novella. And I know how many mistakes I've made in that. And I know that people will go, oh, I've read this thing, I'm now going to go back and read what their first thing was. And I don't know, I'm considering going back and re-editing it still. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. But When Winter Comes, I'm incredibly proud of it. And I feel that I've put out something that just makes me very happy. And I've just come out of my shell a lot in terms of networking again with people in the community. We've said a few times on this podcast, when I first went full-time, I wouldn't say I isolated myself purposely, but I was very much focused on just me. And then over the past couple of years, I've allowed myself to, mingle with some amazing people. And that has grown the business and taken it in a direction that I never would have imagined. So I guess to sum up a bit, mentally, I'm in so much more of a better place. And I know that we spoke a couple of weeks ago about how you don't really understand your own business until a couple of years down the line, when you really start to discover what does work and what doesn't. Because I kind of see this as, when you go self-employed, you say yes to everything, you throw everything into a shaker, and over time you shake out the things that actually bring you joy and also work for you. And I'm at the point where that's beginning to happen, and I now have a definitive path ahead that I'm happy with. And yeah, the biggest sort of leveling up for me is that shift in really wanting to work with people as well as working on my own fiction. And even changing a word in your own identity can change so much. And I started my book coaching arm of my business back in September last year. Incidentally, this week I wrapped up the work that I've been doing with the first client that I took on, and it was very emotional. It was very humbling, and I wish her the best of luck with her book coming out very, very soon. But I've since switched from being a book coach to being an author coach, because I enjoy books. I enjoy the process of craft. I'm much more passionate about mindset and people's journeys and helping people live the life of the author. Like, when I need to, I can give advice on craft and things. But the thing that really lights my fire is understanding people's journeys and helping them learn that they have permission to pursue the things that they want to in the way that they want to. So all over the place, but that's, leveling up. It's going very well. This month, particularly financially, has been very nice.
Yeah, this is the biggest financial month I've ever had, and I didn't realize quite how it's hit another. I think I've just got to do the final calculations, but I'm pretty sure it's hit a level I didn't realize it was going to hit, which is very exciting. That is kind of why I brought the free write.
Reward yourself. Yeah, why not?
Seriously, I deserve the reward after this month. So yeah, I mean, leveling up is I am leveling up. Every, what I want to be clear about is that not every single month do we see increases.
No.
So, I have seen really shit months, and I've seen really fantastic months, and this is the journey of self-employment. But you are better off measuring over the course of a quarter or a year, and seeing, comparatively how that quarter or that year is compared to a previous year. And my income is increasing. When I left, I was 75% freelance work, and now it's less than 30%. And really it's dropping rapidly as well. And I think the biggest shift in terms of level up is my mindset. And the way that I see opportunity and the self-belief and the knowing. I know I can do a thing and make X amount of money. And even though I sort of knew that, I didn't know it. Now I know it.
Yes.
And that is changing everything about how I look at next year and about what I do. The other thing that I have realized is that I need to keep more things to myself, and not tell people, anybody. Yeah. So I'm not going to tell as many things as I have been doing over the next few months, because I want to be sure in myself and have the ability to pivot without pressure. So I am staying very silent on what it is that I'm doing for next year, until I've done the things, which makes it slightly harder to have podcasts. But I still think I can be transparent about some things. And so I will be transparent about those things. But yeah, like, how is leveling up going? I mean, financially, I am definitely leveling up. As I said, this particular month is the biggest financial month I've ever had. It is considerably more than I ever used to earn this month. It's looking very promising to beat my old day job income this financial year. Whether or not I will is still to be determined. Yeah, well, let's just wait, because it's still to be determined. But it's looking like it might beat my old income, which is good. I'm fingers crossed. It's going to be a very close call, and I just don't know. So we shall see. Yeah, and I don't know really. I feel mentally like I've leveled up the most. I feel very free, very empowered. I feel like I can make. It's really hard to explain the shift, because I don't know any new things than when I left my day job, but I know them in a different way now. And that's very strange, because I knew that I could do a thing and make money when I left my day job, but now I know I can do a thing and make money. And I just don't know how to explain that shift, or that level up. It's very internal. It's very, maybe it's having experience behind you. Maybe it's, I don't know, the belief that we have survived for nearly 3 years and therefore we can continue to survive.
May I offer an analogy? So do you know, like when you get an ulcer, and for ages that ulcer's just there, and then 3 weeks later you're suddenly like, oh, that ulcer's gone. To me, that's the shift as I see it in my head. It's that sudden, like, you have all that not trepidation, but there's sort of, although like you say, you know it, there's almost like you haven't convinced yourself. There's not that conviction in belief. And then suddenly a few months down the line, you're like, oh, I've just realized I'm doing this confidently, because you've had all that time up, and it just kind of happens. Yeah.
I also feel, and this is possibly one of the most important things, I feel empowered to say no. And
that's a horrible arc to learn.
Yeah, it really, that is probably the hardest thing I've learned this year, to say no. But now I really like no. And I will continue to say no for some time, because I have shit that's going to get done next year. And I want to keep getting rid of things that aren't helping me get to where I want to go. And so, yeah, I am excited. Good things are coming. Yeah.
There are so many different facets of leveling up, from finance to mindset to business to, you know, the personal stuff that then impacts the business as well. I say this often. I like going back to earlier episodes of this podcast, of, you know, the podcast I did with Luke Story Studio, and just hearing who I was, because only in those, and this is why I like podcasting, because it's a very easy way to document your journey. And so in a way, this is kind of like a good way of journaling for me. It's just recording it and, you know, listening back. And what's interesting is I like hearing the things that I'm saying, but then remembering what was underneath it all as well, and just the background processes. I think one of the things that I actually really love that you said there was staying silent. like, I think there's benefits to being transparent with some stuff, but I do think as well that there are certain points where you have to reach that internal conviction of what you're doing without seeking external validation, and just know, and that's really empowering in itself.
It's also knowing myself and my strengths, right? I like, my strengths are influencing strengths. Therefore, if I say too many things, then I will be led by the impact I can create, or I will be led by wanting to influence groups of people rather than by what is right by me, or by what is right for my business, or by what I want to deliver. Now, don't get me wrong. I want to do stuff that is going to make an impact, and I do want to make a lot of money. But it needs to be in the right way for me. And that's new and that's different, because I think before a lot of this stuff was subconscious, whereas now I know what my default decision making is. I know what my subconscious decision making can be if I allow it to be. And yeah, so I don't know, like I feel like I'm not really saying an awful lot, but
I think you are.
Yeah,
well, I think it's all valid. And yeah, I know this was certainly true for me, is that as you start to learn things and try different things, you rely on other people's models to show you the path ahead. And so you become, or I become in some ways like a mimic of other people's processes. And only once you've done it a few times, you then start to see where you can bring your spin to it and really make it your own, and embrace, like you say, your strengths to then make that thing stronger and make that thing definitively you. I mean,
I spoke to Sebastian de Castell last night, and he's going to be on the podcast.
Beautiful name.
I think next week. Yeah, he is also a beautiful writer. And he said something that really reaffirmed a few things in my mind. And basically it was linked, I think it was linked to his Rebel story. But anyway, what he was saying is that, sorry, you have to not do the things that you think everybody else wants you to do, but do the things that you want to do. Something, I'm saying it very ineloquently, he was much better at it. And he was basically saying that he wrote a fuck you book, because he, you know, obviously being traditionally published, he has to write things that are going to sell, that are to market. He has to worry about tropes. He has to worry about this, that, and the other. And in February, he just was like, I'm going to write a whole book this month, and it's going to be a fuck you. And there's going to be ridiculous things in there that will never sell, like rat magic and spoon magic and like shit that, you know, he was like, I just needed to write a fuck you book with no pressure, nobody watching, no anything. And he was like, I just signed a contract for it and it sold. And he was like, it was a reminder to me that anything can sell. You can do anything that you want to do, and that you're better off not trying to put the popular spin on it. Or, you know, I've remembered exactly what he said. He was like, lots of people hate on Twilight. Right, he was like, loads of people slate Twilight, they say it's shit, who wants shiny vampires, this, that, and the other. And he was like, but the problem with that is that there are people who actually do like Twilight and who do like shiny vampires, and the worry is that those people will try and write something that's Anne Rice or Jay Kristoff, or, you know, instead of, you know, and then what you do is you do a poor man's mimic version of that instead of doing the thing that is most powerfully you. And he was like, if you like Twilight, then you need to write the fucking shiniest, most glittery, most fucking insta love vampire story ever known to man, because that is what you will do well. And he was like,
you will write a better book that way.
And you will write a better book. Exactly. And I was just like, oh my God. And it just gave me permission to do something that's been holding me back. And he said a few things last night that I think I needed somebody to say to me, and he doesn't even realize what he said to me. And there were sort of 2 or 3 things in that conversation that I was like, I know where I'm going and I know what I'm doing now. And I think the gap, like being away and then coming back and hearing somebody say those things really helped. So yeah, I think
I'm going to be listening to that conversation, I think.
I think even that anyway, so
yeah, in summation, level up is going good. I'm speaking for myself at this point, like I'm in wildly a different direction to where I thought it would be, and I'm infinitely happier for it. And I am very, very excited for the future. I think one final thing I will add that I've learned is that while I will not go back to a day job, I do need a way to create a sustainable income stream that is sort of, and when I say sustainable, it won't be 100% the same every month, but as much as I can, a raft for which I can then base everything else upon. And that really has been a fundamental shift in a lot of what I'm doing, is offering support in a way in which, as I say, I can keep that afloat while building the other things. So there's mine.
Cool. Alrighty then. So I think that's it. The question of the week for everybody listening is, how is leveling up going?
And before we go, Sacha's going to very quickly make herself into speaker view so we can see if the Zoom trick works.
Speaker view. Go to speaker view. How do I do that?
So at the top right? Yeah.
Okay, cool.
So then, okay.
But that was only speaker view, not gallery.
But we were in gallery.
I mean, it wasn't share screen. I thought you said share
screen.
Oh,
I know. We'll share screen with something as well, if you want to. Yeah, I have to.
No,
we can just try it as it is.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll leave that then.
Alrighty. And we will see you next week. Bye.
Yeah, I will too. Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Hungry for more?
If you enjoyed this podcast, you can hear more of my angelic accent and Dan's dulcet tones on our other podcasts.
For more of me, check out the Great Writers Share podcast.
For more of me, listen to the Rebel Author podcast. We'll be back next week holding each other to account as Dan
and Sacha
become
next level
authors.
Goedemorgen is good morning. Goedemorgen. Goedemorgen.
But it's spelled God Morgan.
Yes. Yeah, good morgen. Yeah. Goedemorgen.
Goedemorgen. Morgen.
That's it. That's better. Yeah.
Goedemorgen.
Goedemorgen. Yeah. And then people often say morgen, like morning.